Welcome back to our second video in our four-part series of how communication trumps technology. How we're helping leaders use virtual technology to stay connected and communicate effectively with their teams. As everyone has their own style and tendencies when working virtually, we're now learning how to recognize different temperaments and different behaviors when we're communicating virtually. Now, as we speak to leaders, we're trying to give them some ways to how to adapt and adjust virtually to their team members. Now, remember, leaders, as you're working with different team members in different groups, there's a couple things you need to do and be prepared for to make sure that every conversation is effective, it's clear, and understood. First and foremost, before each meeting, you must be completely focused. Now, with me, that's knowing what I'm going to speak to, who I'm speaking to, and what is the next steps I want my team to do. Secondly, is to be completely open and understanding there are going to be different nuances through virtual communication, and being open and understanding, using that emotional quotient, will help you to connect more effectively and clearly with your team. And finally, the most important is to let everything go of all preconceived notions, of all insights, because right now everyone is in the same situation and under stress. So let's jump into the second individual or your team member you may experience during virtual communication. Now, as I provide these describers for these team members, someone will pop into your head. You will recognize this because these particular temperaments are visual, high levels of intensity, especially under stress, pressure, or fatigue. Now, this next team member that you may have is that high energy, very relationship driven, someone who really likes to be around people, is very social. This is the kind of person that just doesn't meet a stranger. They get in an elevator, and by the time they get to the lobby, they know everything about them, and they already have their home address or phone number, and they're getting together on LinkedIn. So this is that kind of person that it brings that energy and that social interaction with any situation that they're in. This is also the group that most likely is struggling the most with isolation and social distancing, because their need, their energy, their battery, if you will, is social interaction. So right now that has been limited. They like to keep in touch, they like to connect, and how they overcome stress or fear is through communication. So you may recognize this individual because when you're in a meeting or on a phone call with them, they tend to talk more than normal. And this is how they talk through their concerns, their challenges, their issues. But it's also how they get re-energized around social people. They want to do most of the talking because to them is how they feel comfortable. This is also the group that most likely has created some new gestures just to keep everyone connected and getting their attention in any situation. So as leaders, here's some do's and don'ts in a virtual conversation when you have this type of team member in your conversations. First, don't be too factual or formal. Right now, it's about that relationship, that social interaction. If you want to get the most out of this team member, don't be too factual, too formal at the beginning in particular. Limit nonverbal communication such as phone or text and increase the visual. That way they stay energized, they stay connected, and you bring their stress and fear down. Also, if you are giving them any kind of roles or responsibilities, don't just say it, make sure that you also back it up in writing. And while this particular team member or this type of behavior style, when under stress, this is not the group you give long-term projects to. Little small things, and connect them with other team members so there's a constant interaction. The more interaction they have, the more productive they're going to be. If you don't happen to be a high energy, high social individual as a leader, this is where really having your patience and understanding how they interact, so that way you can coach them, guide them, and communicate with them more effectively. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Remember to take your time. And one final point, I've taken all my leaders who have this type of member on a call. Have them come on the call 15 to 20 minutes prior to the rest of the group. simply to socialize. This will help them become more comfortable and more productive on the call. Please hope this is helpful to you guys. Watch for our third video when we talk about our third member in our 4-part series, and we'll hope to see you on our next one.